Thanks for joining us on the Voice of San Diego podcast in partnership with News Radio 600 Kogo. My name is Scott Lewis. I'm the CEO and editor-in-chief at Voice of San Diego. I'm joined by our assistant editor, Andrew Keatts.
Sorry.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, it's a new bit I was going to try out.
Managing editor, Sara Libby. You know they can't see you when you do your dumb nod.
It was for you.
Hello.
Hi. All right, coming up on the show today, Politifest is upon us. Saturday, we will be at the University of San Diego with a lot of you. We didn't know if focusing this year on housing, transportation, homelessness would be a good idea, but holy moly, ticket sales and interest in the event have an indication that it did work out. It's a good idea. I used to worry that people wouldn't come to Politifest several years ago. First year, I did. Second year, I worried that they wouldn't come. And now I'm worried about that they're coming. Like, it's a different feeling. It's a different worry.
Like, it has to be good.
Right, I better not screw this up. I mean, we're a small place.
Yeah.
We have very few employees, and we're pulling off like a big event. And I hope it goes all right. If it doesn't, hey, you get, hopefully it won't be worse than the second one or the first one.
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
I think we're going to have a preview of all the different things or several of the cool things that we're looking forward to in the event. The president also had a message this week and a new descriptor of Republicans who don't like him. And that descriptor might have gotten the attention of some dudes here. There's drama in the District 2 county supervisor race and an endorsement in the District 3 one. There were new developments in those county races. We've been following them. We'll talk about those. Encinitas is suing its own residents over housing. And there's some news in the vaccination issue. A lot of things that Will Huntsberry has broken here. We wanted to follow up on a bit of news that kind of slipped past. It used to be when a Republican would leave the party, it was kind of like big news, like national news.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
And now we were part of helping break it, and it didn't even really blow up very much. So a few weeks ago on this very show, in this podcast studio in downtown San Diego, we had District Attorney Summer Stephan in here. And we haven't had a lot of interviews that had more news than hers did.
Right.
It was really interesting. And part of that portfolio of news was the fact that she was thinking of leaving the Republican Party, she said she thought too many people worried she would be influenced by her party or political considerations.
And so I talked to a lot of people about it. I've been taking feedback to see at the end of the day, whatever decision I make will be based on what I think is best in representing me as the people's prosecutor, the DA for everyone.
So we wrote that week, how long will Summer Stephan be a Republican?
The answer was
Turned
1
out
week.
not long.
Was it 2 weeks?
Okay. 14 days.
Okay.
2 weeks. That was it for her. So the Republicans are losing one elected official at a rate of one per quarter over 2019 so far.
It's transitioned to like Democrats aren't even happy about it. They don't even gloat.
Yeah, they're kind of like annoyed, like this is our place.
Yeah, they're like, oh, now? Finally.
Yeah. All right, so I remain intensely interested in what the future of the Republican Party in California and in San Diego is. Because if this, we laugh, but if this continues, are we really marching toward a world where you have to be a Democrat who's kind of liberal, but, market capitalist type thing, or a Democrat who's union intensely supportive of that sort of thing? And that's the divide. Or is there an actual alternative to the Democrats? Because we are marching toward a world where somebody was just telling me the other day that on the Republican side, like, it doesn't seem unlikely that the city council, the San Diego City Council, could be 8-1 Republican or Democrats, with the one being Chris Keatts, not the one from the District 5, the most conservative district. And when we're marching toward that world and we're watching these Republicans sort of fall, how does this work? And then you have the president the other day. He tweets, this is crazy. The never Trump Republicans, though on respirators and not many left, are in certain ways worse and more dangerous for our country than the do-nothing Democrats. Watch out for them. They are human scum.
Nice.
So, I mean, what he's, in my read of that.
But human.
Yeah, at least you're not rodent.
There you go.
He's stepped up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He has an intense loyalty call, right? That's a you're with me or you are against me.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this situation, like we have this whole group of local Republicans who don't and have said they don't like him, they don't support him or whatever. Can they continue and can they thrive? Can they get support from the Republican Party that they need to win? Can they, or without endorsing him or supporting him or, not being human scum? Or do they have to figure out a different route? And how watching all these folks fall off the party, is it untenable?
Yeah, I mean, I think basically what a lot of people have decided to do is see if they can bide their time and see if the problem takes care of itself, which is to say, talk about it as little as possible, parse your responses when forced to. Survive, and maybe he's not reelected.
And hope that he never puts you into a specific loyalty test.
Right. And for the most part, in the local level, you're probably going to be able to avoid drawing his ire at you directly.
Is that
yeah?
Is that a real optimistic future for the party though?
I don't. Certainly not. I mean, I think I see what you're saying with this third path, because if you look at the Republicans who have actually met with him since he's been president, like Kevin Faulconer and also Kristen Gaspar, who has been pretty vocal in her support for him after originally saying she wouldn't vote for him. They've couched it in this look, I won't, turn down any opportunity to meet to help my community get resources, and they've been careful not to say I'm not meeting with him because I like him,
right? Or I don't agree with everything he says,
right?
Which is kind of a common sense. And then there's there's the other way, which is fully getting on the bandwagon. I mean, at this time 3 years ago, I had an email exchange with Tony Kavarik where he multiple times,
he's the chair of the Republican
Party, refused to just affirmatively say that he supported President Trump. Trump wasn't the president at that time; he was nominee. And now he, moderated a debate the other day wearing a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
So it's clear that many of these elected officials haven't gone that direction, but I think they've chosen to go down this middle direction. That's probably only viable for one more year. I don't think you can go 4 more years hoping that the party reverts to the thing that you signed up for in the first place, and that this is just a brief period.
So there's only there's 2 possible outcomes then for California. One is that it becomes way more excited about Trump, which seems difficult to comprehend. The other is that the Republicans continue to lose their sort of positioning and really dissolve out as an alternative opportunity. And is that really, are we really marching towards that reality? Because it sounds like we might be, and that's bananas. That's just hard to comprehend as you have 2 choices, Democrat A or Democrat B, or Trump, which is just not going to fly on the San Diego City Council, for example.
Yeah. Plus this other thing where it's and we have this one congressional district and one county supervisor district and maybe some city councils where the politics are different.
Right. Like the Santee mayor and the county board District 2, District 1 maybe. Or District
I mean,
5.
Which would be interesting. It would just be this complete fracturing of any sort of cohesive county-wide political apparatus.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. So that's what's been on our mind. Watching that, I again, as Andy said, a lot of the local Republicans had avoided it. I heard that Kevin Faulconer told somebody recently that he wouldn't leave the party. You'd have to take him out of it with wild horses or something. He's there. He's sticking with it. So,
how long and how far would wild horses have to pull you before Michael Vu stepped in and was like, "I'll change the registration. Just knock it off."
Inside my radio, my hi-fi stereo, wired for country songs.
All right, last week on Monday night, San Diego County's Republican Party did consider making an endorsement. They were discussing the District 2 seat. That's the East County seat that's been held by Diane Jacob for quite some time. It's seen as safe for Republicans. There is Kenya Taylor running as a Democrat, but Steve Voss, Mayor of Poway, and Joel Anderson have been really duking it out. Joel Anderson has name. Diane, he's been a rival with Diane Jacob for quite some time, but he was a state senator. Heard from him a lot. But Steve Voss has a ton of support among local Republicans like Kevin Faulconer, so much so that Anderson called him a downtown insider, right? This cowboy hat wearing Poway mayor.
Ex-country music singer.
My troubles topple like dominoes.
It's the downtown insider. So it was a weird moment. Steve Voss was, seemed like he might be able to block the endorsement of the Republican Party, but then got up and conceded it. Joel Anderson won and is now the nominee or the endorsed candidate from the Republican Party. Fascinating race out there in East County. But just, another example of just, is that the sort of contest the Republicans are boiled down to right now?
And they don't have candidates in a lot of these races that are open seats. Open city council seats. And so it's becoming the focus of their attention within the party.
Is the race for the 50th, and this race, a few others, right?
And then there's the one open city council seat that they do have that is contested. But
What is the logic behind conceding that?
I don't know.
It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I had somebody describe him as a gentleman cowboy, and he just misread it. Honestly, it's like a poker hand. He didn't see what he had in his hand. That's
different to me than being gentlemanly. You are in a political race.
Yeah, the gentleman cowboy thing to me kind of reads like a forward spin.
Right.
I don't know if that was somebody who is, but it's like, oh well, he conceded because he's just such a great guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's so good.
I think he just misread the hand. I think he could have blocked it, and he's like, oh, I don't
have the votes. Yeah. I'll just meh.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to go against me, and I'll just concede. So there were a lot of talk about that. Now, that race can be fascinating. Both have money, both have support. On the other side, District 3, this is the big primary. Kristen Gaspar is the Republican incumbent. She's probably going to make it through the primary. But the big fight between Tara Lawson-Remer and Olga Diaz. Olga Diaz, city councilwoman Escondido. Tara Lawson-Remer, adjunct professor and former Obama administration member. So she just Thursday got the endorsement of the Labor Council. Tara Lawson-Remer did. That's not insignificant.
Not insignificant at all. Now we'll see how much money they are willing to spend, but I think it's fair to say they don't endorse in a contested race if they don't intend to spend some money there.
Right.
And Olga Diaz had been seen as having an inside track to the party endorsement, but she came up just short. And so, or another way of saying that, Tara Lawson-Remer was able to block that endorsement, which may have evened the scales there in terms of them each having one sort of large institutional force that was able to support their candidacy. And now, Olga Diaz does not have that.
Well, and SEIU, the union that represents most of the county workers, they've made it clear that they do want to spend money on this race in favor of Tara Lawson-Remer. There was a kind of divide among unions on this race as the building trades seemed to line up around Olga Diaz. And she also has the support of Lorena Gonzalez, Nathan Fletcher. And so really fascinating battle developing.
I would think she also has a bit of a head start in name recognition just from having been voted on by people in that district multiple times. Now, Escondido doesn't cover the entirety of the district, so there's lots of people who've never voted for her, but there's no one who's ever voted for Tara Lawson-Remer before.
Right. So fascinating. Also in that district, Encinitas broke a story this week about how they basically the city is suing its residents. What happened there?
Yeah, so usually for the last several years, it's been the other way around with, different developers and residents suing the city for not being in compliance with state law as far as having a housing plan that lays out how they'll accommodate growth. And now, since the city's facing pressure, for violating that law for so long, they want a court to step in definitively and say whether this city ordinance that's prevented them from having this state law met is viable or whether there's a way to dismantle it completely. It's been suspended by a judge. And so, the city said, we really want somebody to sort this out for us, and we have to name someone in a lawsuit. So why not name the people who created this Prop A, which says that, citizens essentially have the power to overturn city land use decisions.
Yeah, fascinating. So let me see if I get this straight. The state requires you to come up with a plan for housing. Encinitas did, but citizens put up a voter initiatives that says all those things have to go to votes, and they sent one of that to the vote, and the vote killed it
Twice.
Yeah.
And so then the state says you're not in compliance, and then a judge says that means that it's not legal, this vote thing.
Right.
And now
You're doing a good job.
now the city of Encinitas has said we've got to resolve this dispute, so we have to take this whole dispute to court.
Yes.
And that means we have to sue our citizens.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what I suppose it would just be resolved through a policy decision. I don't think you could hold the citizens responsible in any sort of way.
They write
right?
like $350 check or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
But what's odd is, this all seems, the solution here seems easy enough for me to figure out, which is right now the way Prop A, the measure that forces this, is structured, is any change whatsoever to the zoning that existed at the time that it was created, any change must go to a vote of the people. Any upzone, any responsibility, any change, any upzoning. Simple enough. Just make it any change initiated by a private developer must go to a vote of the people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
so that it would be for individual projects as opposed to just having an outline.
Right.
We see this pretty regularly of a vote of the people coming in conflict with state law. So there's nothing about a vote of the people that makes it supersede state law.
Right.
And in fact, it's actually been pretty much enforced the opposite way. However, you can get a vote of the people that changes state law. So there's
Right. You could do that.
California's great.
California every year gives us something to talk about. All right, our final bit of news. We wanted to talk about this week. The state medical board charged a San Diego doctor with gross and repeated negligence, as well as failure to properly maintain records. Last year, Voice of San Diego broke the story, revealing that Dr. Tara Zanfleet was responsible for nearly a third of all medical vaccine exemptions for students who wanted to attend San Diego Unified School District. So she's in trouble.
Yeah, so in Will Huntsberry's original story, revealing that she'd been doling out these exemptions, she kind of laid out a lot of reasoning for why she gives them out that doesn't really align with medical standards and accepted practices. And so these charges are related to a specific person who came to her seeking an exemption, and she granted it despite things that, again, just aren't accepted practice. So the person didn't provide records about their family medical history and just said kind of like, my aunt had asthma once, so can my daughter not get her vaccines? And she said, sure.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, more or less.
Yeah.
That's a summary.
Right. And so this isn't related to the new law that was passed that's being enforced. This is just a regular enforcement of the existing.
Exactly.
Fascinating. I am looking at the guide, the schedule to Politifest,
Yeah.
and my heart is racing. But this is awesome. There's a lot going on. There's going to be we've got our old friend Liam Dillon's coming. He's going to host a discussion about housing supply.
Yeah.
That
And
guy.
his podcast.
And his podcast, Gimme Shelter.
rival live podcast. tape.
Yeah. There's going to be, you're going to do a discussion with the chief of Sandag, Richard, and then we got Coronado Mayor Richard Bailey, Georgette Gomez about transit,
Paul Jablonski.
Paul Jablonski. MTS executive. So that'll be interesting. We've got, I'm doing a debate about the hotel room tax. Yes, for a better San Diego.
Are you going to conduct are you going to moderate the debate in that voice?
Sure.
No, just every time you mention that name itself, you have to change your voice.
Yes, for a better San Diego. Come on, guys. They didn't step up to my challenge to come up with a all-encompassing name for what they want to do.
Maybe they'll unveil it at your debate.
I don't think so. But that's going to be interesting. We got Gil Cabrera debating. He's for it, debating Mike McConnell, probably the most prominent critic of the mayor's homeless policy, I guess is fair to put, right?
Seems like it.
We've got the supervisor candidates. We'll have Jill Anderson, Olga Diaz, and then 3 South Bay candidates.
I think that one's cool because they'll all be talking together, whereas, in debates that you're just debating the people you're running against in that district.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see, Olga Diaz on a stage with Joel Anderson and Ben Hueso.
Yeah, and they all have to answer questions about, county stuff, but it's, from a different perspective. So.
Right.
Sometimes you take lemons and you turn them into lemonade when
There you go.
can't get some of the candidates to show up, figure it out.
Or lemon meringue pie.
And then there's this whole homeless track. So what's the actual situation of homelessness, followed by, and that's being moderated by Andrew Bowen. Lisa Halverstadt put a lot of this together. Andrew Bowen from KBS coming in to help out. We've got what have other cities done? We flew some people in. And then what's our plan here? So Padres owner Peter Seiler, a few other people come in to talk about that.
Good thing the plan came out before Politifest.
Yes. It's almost like they made sure of that.
Do you think?
I don't know. It came out and Politifest is happening.
Sure.
But then
It's never stopped a journalist from claiming credit just based on the timing of 2 things before. I don't know why we should start now.
Now, that's just all the stuff we put together. One of the things we started last year that's pretty cool, and this year we invited groups to submit applications to do their own panels. Yes. And there's a ton. Nathan Fletcher is bringing Kevin De Leon in to talk about air pollution. There's one about seniors and senior housing issues. There's one about micro units, criminalizing homelessness, sprawl.
That's how you know you've made it, is when your quaint community booths are like the former president of the state senate.
Right. So very excited for all these things. And then, of course, us 3 will be hosting a mayoral debate, a conversational mayoral debate, getting a lot of questions on how that's going to work. Will I give rebuttal time and all that? Going to moderate for fairness. Everybody's going to get a chance to talk, but we're going to have some fun and make this understandable and easy to follow, right?
Yeah, there's also going to be 65,000 actual debates between now and March.
Right.
So this one will actually be a conversation.
Yeah.
People will be expected to talk like humans and all that stuff.
If they go back and forth a little bit, that'll be good.
Yes.
It's fine. So please come. There's still tickets. I'm actually worried that we're going to sell out. So get on that. Sign up. I bet you'll probably be able to get in if you come, but we're nearing 900 tickets so far, and I'm really pleased. I used to dream about this event actually working, and it seems like it is.
Yeah, but your dreams involved sack races and petting zoos and stuff.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Dunk tanks and tug of wars of tug. Tugs of war.
Tugs of war. Wars of tugs are at a different festival.
Pies. None of that, but there will be some food and then the reception at the end. So stay tuned. Stay for that. If you can't make it, we will post some of the videos in the podcasts. So just to be clear, if you were listening to this on Friday, you still can make it. If it's not Friday, if it's Saturday afternoon, sorry, it's going on. Maybe you can drop in late. If it's Sunday, it's already passed. Next week, we'll have the debate from Politifest in your podcast feed, and that'll be between the candidates for mayor of San Diego. We'll probably post several other videos, all kinds of things. All right, thanks for listening to the Voice of San Diego podcast. It is the most popular political affairs podcast recorded in downtown San Diego. Hope to see you at Politifest. Again, tickets and info at politifest.org. That's just basically politics without the CS, politifest.org. If you listen to us every week, you'll probably like our newsletters. We have a lot of them to choose from. You can pick your favorites at vosd.org/newsletters. I'm Scott Lewis, CEO and Editor-in-Chief. Andrew Keatts is assistant editor. Sara Libby is managing editor. And this show is made possible by the talents and production capability of Nate John, Megan Wood, and Adriana Heldes. And we will talk to you next week.